Are you ready? Huh? Are you ready? All right, everybody. Welcome back to another show, baby. It's Tuesday, July 16th. The President of the United States, the former president, the front runner, got shot on Saturday. What do we know about it yet? That's what we know. A whole lot of nothing. Of course, the big news right now that they're pumping in the media is the RNC. The RNC is getting all the attention, and it's not good for the Democrats because Americans are seeing that, like tonight's thing was about safety, make America safe again. They're talking about fentanyl, they're talking about the immigrants killing people, Lincoln Riley, all of that. And not so much of the assassination attempt where they tried to blow, I guess, President Trump's brains out in 4K. Imagine that. We had to Zapruder film for JFK. Imagine if that was in 4K. We could see a lot different. So this has been a complete collapse of the Secret Service. Now, if you follow along here at the Rock and Roll Rebel Show, we know that there are conspiracy theories out there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of them. A lot of them. If you want to start with the first conspiracy theory that you could probably debunk within, I don't know, maybe an hour, 2 hours, if you really dive deep, would be the moon landing. Because we all know the moon's real. We can see it. But was the moon landing real? But that being said, now we got new information about the shooter. We got the shooter is out there. He's dead. This 20-year-old, I don't think we can bring his name up or anything like that. But how can he take out the most heavily budgeted security apparatus in the world to protect one person? The Secret Service only does two jobs. They protect presidents, ex-presidents, families, and they mess with counterfeit money. So if they can't protect a president, how are they doing on the counterfeit money? Is that what they're doing? Joe Biden's printing all this money to send to everywhere else, to Ukraine, to Israel, and all this, so we could just pay for people to die? That don't make no sense. We don't want nobody to die. We want everybody to live here at the Rock and Roll Rebel Show. That's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. But this whole assassination is wild. It's maybe it's going to get memory hold. Maybe it's too shocking for people to talk about. I get it. Because I've asked about it. And it's not even really the conversation. It's like, you know? Because there's just so much about it. We saw the shots. We saw snipers. There's video out there. They're talking about now that the alleged shooter bought 50 rounds of ammo, 50 bullets. He bought 50 bullets. We do not know what type of bullets. We don't know. Like some people, like the natural AR, platform, like a Smith & Wesson or a Bushmaster or H&K. Everybody makes a AR-15 style rifle. We all seen them. It's like modeled after like the old school M16. Some people call it the M4 today. Whatever you want to call it, it's so many different calibers that can shoot out that gun. I want to know the caliber. Why don't we have the caliber? You got the NATO round, the 5.56 or the 223. You also it could also come in the AK round, the 7.65. It can come in this blackout. Everybody loves the 300 blackout round. So I'm curious to see what shot Trump in his ear, just that turn alone. You imagine that? Just looking back and taking it out. And how many shots were technically fired? We don't even know how many shots were fired. I counted somewhere between like 8, maybe. You hear like pap, 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 and then you hear pap, pap, pap. So I don't know. Is that the snipers on the roof? Like, what a breakdown of this. Like, according to Dan Bongino right now, that the Secret Service has put out information that anybody talks about this, they will lose their jobs. So I don't know if they're trying to keep it from leaking or if they're trying to keep it secret. Because there's no information. This 20-year-old had no social media. You see a couple videos where they're trying to say he got bullied because somebody was pulling on his pants. Nah, not going to happen. Not going to happen. So we got to get down to it. We don't know the gun. We don't know the caliber of the gun. We don't know how a 20-year-old outsmarted the most sophisticated protection service in the world. How's the Secret Service not going to cover a 134-yard roof? You can hit that with iron sights. Anybody who shot a gun, you let someone shoot a gun for 2 weeks. I guarantee it, 2 weeks, 3 hours a day. That person could be a pretty good professional, pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And this kid, we know that he was supposedly kicked off his rifle team because he wasn't a good shot. He was a hell of a shot. I think he shot, 5 bullets, they're saying? He killed one, hit Trump in the head. You remember when that speaker fell down? You're like, why is that speaker fell down? I guess that was a hydraulic hose. So it busted the hydraulic hose, so the backhoe had to, I guess it came down a little bit. Because you're like, what is that, spraying water? And I don't know if it was a mist, but we saw it all fall down. I think it was a speaker. And then another person over to the other side of Trump got hit. So, I mean, he was hitting people. And then you got all this stuff out here that there was minutes. Some are saying up to like 13 minutes, the snipers had eyes on them. And then we know there's definitely where the videos first start because the timestamps that we know the Secret Service had at least 1 minute and 47 seconds. That's a long time. If we were to sit here and count for 1 minute and 47 seconds, y'all would turn this place off. You would turn it off, the lights would go off. You'd be like, what's he doing? You know, this isn't Mr. Beast counting 10,000. So none of that makes sense, but there's new evidence now because I guess we saw he bought 50 rounds. So he bought a box of ammo. He bought a box of ammo. We don't know what for. And then he bought a 5-foot ladder, they said. But then, like, if you see the ladder on the building, it's more than 5. It's like a 10-foot ladder. And then they're saying he drove up in his Hyundai Sonata, and then they had explosives in the car, and he had remote detonation. What is this guy? He's like a Navy SEAL, bro. This guy's like a Navy SEAL. Let's break this down. Let's watch this video here because none of this makes no sense. And then this is the great Corey Mills. You know what I'm saying? He's in Congress. He was a sniper. This is a long interview with CNN, but this will all make sense. Let's just play this, and then we're going to dive back into all this nonsense because this don't make no sense. Who shot the president? They're trying to throw some fake stuff at us. Is that what they're trying to do? Can we make this bigger? Let's make this bigger. So I want people to see this. I want you to recognize what's going on here. Yeah, let's pull this up. And let's play this right now.
You know, I look at all of these things, and I look at different videos where an assailant will pull a firearm on a law enforcement officer, and the first thing they do is they immediately pull and draw and mitigate the threat and the risk. You know, I ask why the local law enforcement officer did not do so. The other thing is that when you set up an advance team, I keep hearing this about the perimeter elements.
Yeah.
You know, the perimeter is actually established by your threats that are in the area. So if I don't have any threats outside of 100 yards, okay, fine, I can cordon off a certain area. But if I have a building 160 yards perfectly adjacent to the stage, that's an obvious threat, especially with an elevated position that has overwatch. Mm-hmm. That's a sniper's paradise. And, you know, we talk about Eagle's Nest. You also have, which no one talks about, but the water tower.
So what I'm hearing from you is it's not a failure on the ground for sure, but 100%. Also a failure in advance? I
think it's a failure in advance. I think it's a failure to have the counter snipers to be able to establish their range fit and their sketch maps.
I also heard we've also learned that local snipers were stationed inside that building. At the time.
I haven't heard that piece of it yet, but that doesn't necessarily make sense unless they were actually in a window which was backed off, because a lot of times you'll get yourself in there. Sometimes you expose your rifle in a way to try and do a force protection or a show of force that actually stops things. Others are actually more tactical where they'll sit back a little bit, but a sniper for the law enforcement is only trained to shoot about 75 yards, unlike your counter sniper teams that are on set. But here's my problem. In having done this for so long, they always say the adage of ignorance is bliss, and I think that's true. I've done thousands of advances. I've done thousands of counter sniper operations with our teams in Iraq and Afghanistan, etc. the amount of negligence, the amount of mistakes that was made here, I have a very difficult time not leaning myself towards this was intentional as opposed to fecklessness.
But wait, talk to me about that. I actually heard you say this right the day after, which I wanted to ask you about. What do you mean intentional?
You know,
I mean an intentional failure on the part of...
No, I wouldn't say an intentional failure on the part of, but I got to just, you know, I sit here and I scratch my head. You don't want to be the conspiracist. You don't want to be the person.
I'm telling you, because that's what it's leaning toward.
No, I know. And that's the issue, is that you walk this fine balance of, you're not trying to be a conspiracist, but you look at it and you go, how could this have gone so...
But it's one thing if someone on the street says it. It's not. I mean, you, Corn Mills, member of Congress, former sniper, you saying it. I mean, it makes my eyebrows go up. When you say you're walking the line on this, intentional what?
You know, it almost seems to me, and I think that an investigation is necessary at this point within Congress, not just the FBI, not just others. You know, I look back at it and I'm thinking, all right, you know, for an individual, if you looked at the escalations and how they are trying to approach him, let's just say that it was like, okay, first we want to censor and silence you, then we want to indict and imprison you. Now we're attempting to kill you and take you off the stage.
Whoa. You, let's slow down.
Please.
I'm hearing two things from you. I don't want to jump ahead of things, but I'm also hearing you jumping ahead of things.
Well, actually, I'm just looking at all the different possible capabilities. You know, one of the things as a military member, one of the things as a person who's run in the special operations communities before, one of the people who's actually done this is that you look at all potential analysis, right?
Donald Trump and his team have said, do not,
no, I agree.
Dial it back. Do not blame this on Joe Biden.
Oh, well, actually, I didn't say Joe Biden, to be completely
Who's the
clear
they then? Let's be very specific.
Well, that's what the investigation has to do. Was it local law enforcement that had made the mistakes, or was there something to it? Was there other types of things that we need to be analyzing or looking at and providing analysis? My point is that when something's so significant, you're talking about something that hasn't happened in decades, right?
I totally...
But my point is this. From a perspective of someone who's actually conducted these are not difficult advances. This is not like I'm putting together a stage placement and a tight shot. This is about looking at your surroundings. What is my green, yellow, and red route, which is your routes out in case? What is my actual elements that I need to be looking at as far as mitigating threats or risks or increased levels? Where's my range fan for the sniper that says, okay, here's my 100, my 200, my sketch. Here's an area where someone could shoot. Because here's my thing.
So you're
Let's
saying,
just say it's a Royce element.
You are saying this is so basic that how big the screw up was, that's what's leading your brain down this road?
That's exactly right, in a way.
Look,
but because here's the other thing. Let's just say it's a resource.
Tom Emmer was just on with me, and he said very specifically to me, I wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
He said very clearly, it is too early to be talking about who is at fault and who is responsible.
That's why an investigation is necessary.
But, is it not dangerous? Is it not reckless to even be throwing around the word intentionally?
So to question things as we do an investigation is recklessness, because at that point, then should we never question anything? My point is this.
I'm not trying to be PC. My point is, in the political environment that we are in.
What would it have taken, right? Let's just say that resources was limited. Let's go with that as a reasoning. So how many times have you seen where they just put a police car inside of a parking lot with not an officer in it and just leave the lights on as a deterrent? Why couldn't that have been a simple thing that was placed in? Why couldn't we have said to the owner of the actual AGR company, hey, look, we don't want to disrupt your business, but we also want to make sure your parking lot is clear of people trying to park in there for the rally. Why don't we place an officer there? My point is that this was too easy of a solution. And when I think about 160
I'm just so uncomfortable with even having
I'm uncomfortable with having to say it. Trust me, my whole point is that I would like to look at this and say, where was the mistake made? How can we correct it in the future? Why was this actually done? But I think that this does warrant a J13 type commission where we can actually look at it and say, let's investigate and find out why this happened so it doesn't happen to anyone. This is not about a political thing. This is about, we had an attempt to assassinate a president. Mm-hmm. We really need to understand what a serious matter this is. And this was a milliseconds or millimeter difference between this being an attempt and this being an assassination. And I can tell you, at 160 yards, Kate, just to give you an idea, your off-the-shelf rifle shoots what they call 1 minute of angle at every 100-yard line. So at 100, it's 1 inch. 200, 2 inches, etc. So now you're talking about 1.6-inch grouping capability of a rifle off a manufacturing line. Your average human being, because we used to do this in understanding sniper training, you're 20 inches shoulder to shoulder, 40 inches head to waist, and you're 6x8 in your average head size. These are kind of the dimensions that you look at as an average. You're talking about a 1.6-inch grouping for multiple shots on a basic rifle. We're blessed, and I do believe in divine intervention, so I am a person of faith. I can't explain, one, I hope that it was a corrugated roof and maybe he slipped off on one of the edges of the corrugated roof or he was rushed. But the whole thing, I think, just needs to have a better explanation so that the American people and everyone can feel comfortable.
And I think that's why people are saying pump the brakes, because we've seen conspiracy theories, honestly, on the right and the left. I just said Donio O'Sullivan on that it's already going like wildfire. This is a kind of political environment that they're saying it's too hot and people are jumping to too many conclusions.
Well,
that's why I am so uncomfortable.
As a military member, one of the things that we do is we what if scenario everything in the world, right? That's how
I know,
we
but I don't know. I'm just saying, if it's the what if that you talk about maybe in an investigation, and the what if that you are presenting on live television. I don't know. It's just...
Well, so listen, I'm a public official.
Yes.
Anything that I do, anything that I say in the public. I don't try and hide it in private. I think that the American people need transparency, accountability, and accessibility to the elected officials, not to try and hide behind what we want to look at. And I also think that if the American people know that we're questioning these things as well, it puts them at rest to at least know, why aren't they at least looking into this? Why? We should look at every single situation which is of this significance. We should look at it from multiple angles to ensure that nothing is left out, nothing could be potentially claimed as being covered up. Yeah. We need to have more transparency to the American people, and I think that's what everyone deserves.
But a full investigation.
Full investigation.
Before anyone
that's right.
points at fault.
That's exactly right. And that's why I say I have not made an accusation of something. I just want to make sure we're covering our bases to ensure that we get a proper investigation at all levels to ensure this doesn't happen again and that our president can be safe.
Congressman, thank you for coming.
Wow, 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 wow. That's all we got to say there. I mean, that's how we're thinking here. Now, is there a cover-up? Is there a conspiracy? Corey Mills knows. Corey Mills knows he did it. He told you he did it. So now we got to ask each other, did it happen? Did it happen? Did it not happen? How can you just have that roof over there that's wide open? And then there's other pictures out there. There's literally other pictures out there where the cops had to ram a gate to get in. There's like no plan B. Let's play this right here. Does any of this make sense? We got to figure out who tried to assassinate the president of the United States. Don't tell me it's this 20-year-old just walking up, just drove to the store, bought some ammo, drove up, bought a ladder, climbed on a roof, and took, I don't know how many shots at President Trump. How can that happen? How can that happen? That doesn't make no sense. Let's play this right here. This is more details coming in. So we're coming hot.
Also breaking right now, correspondent Alexis McAdams has an exclusive interview with the neighbor who shot this video of a suspicious van being towed away from the scene last night. Alexis.
Hey, Martha. Sorry, I didn't know if you were talking to me. I couldn't tell yet. But okay, I'm going to talk to him right now. I'm going to bring him in. This is Billy Toma, Martha, who we've been talking to. We actually met him out there at the scene yesterday. He lives right near where this all happened at that rally. And you also recorded some video. As we see now, this suspect's van was parked right in your street. And they all kind of had it closed off, Martha, because they didn't want people from the rally to park on your street. So then you knew this guy's car wasn't supposed to be there. Walk me through what you saw.
So I came home a little bit before 5. Saw a park there. Didn't really think too much of it. It was the only spot in the whole yard or the whole road that wasn't blocked off. So later on in the night, everything happened, and we got home, and we were sitting there and saw cops all lined on the street. So whenever we looked out, we walked outside and saw them opening up his vehicle and everything. When the cop opened it, everybody else jumped back and was trying to stay out of the way. Here I am worried about it blowing up or whatever's going on. So,
I mean, to find out that this happens and the former president gets shot nearly right in the head, almost assassinated across the street from your house, and then to find out that the gunman's car was possibly parked right in front of your house. How many cops are we talking about that were out there surrounding this van? And was there a license plate on the back of that van?
There was probably 5 to 10 cars out there, and there was an Arizona plate on the van. And there was probably 15 cops altogether, all outside of the van. And then, like I said, whenever the one opened up the door, the rest of them all jumped back trying to stay out of the way.
Did the police talk to you at all? I know you were out there with your son. Were you guys worried for your safety?
We weren't not worried, but yeah, we didn't talk to any cops or anything.
Nah, he wasn't worried. Wasn't worried. He didn't talk to any cops. You know what I'm saying? So what's that white van now? So now we got a white van. They're trying to tell us that he had a Hyundai Sonata. No, none of this makes sense. So hopefully I think Monday there's going to be some people on Capitol Hill that are going to have to testify. But I don't understand how this complete, you know what I'm saying? A complete breakdown, total debacle. Like if you want to just, you know what I'm saying? It don't make sense. I could give this to my 9-year-old son and be like, hey, how do we defend this place? Of course, he would have, turrets and everything else up on top, but I don't know. There's no drones, no nothing. There's people out on the streets just yelling. He's got a gun. I mean, look how close it was. This is how close it was. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Take a look what happened. Take a look what happened.
That's right. That's right. Trump was quarter an inch. Some people live their life a quarter mile at a time. Trump lived his a quarter an inch. Quarter an inch and he's dead. The whole backside, the back of the spine, the brainstem is blown out. It's lights out. Then what happens then? What happens then? Because we're going to be in shock, right? We're in shock. We're in shock now that, there was an assassination attempt. Now Trump dies. The whole political landscape is on fire because J.D. Vance ain't there. Nikki Haley has the most votes technically right now. But we wouldn't do that. We would be pushing like they're trying to push for Joe Biden, right? The Democrats are still pushing for Joe Biden to go out. They know Trump's got too much momentum. He's got the cases failed, the impeachments failed, the assassination attempt failed. Trump is bigger than life right now. The RNC is on. They're riding this wave. They're going to ride this wave because it's July, 16th. We vote on November 5th. So we're like 100 and some odd days out. So they're just going to ride this wave out. And then they're going to have a debate in September, which is still a long ways away. I believe early voting getting ready to open up in certain states probably here within the next 60, 70 days. So, I mean, it's getting wild out there. It's getting wild out there. 2024 has just been straight wild. And I don't know how much of the deep state can keep on deep stating because this is like, you know what I'm saying? It's right in front of our faces and all the stuff we don't believe. And then it is going to put this right in front of our face. So I don't know. It's just wild. Matt Gaetz was out there confronting Kevin McCarthy, talking about if he got on stage, he'd be booed. Just like Nikki Haley was half booed. Everybody's hating on Amber Rose. I don't know why Matt Walsh is hating on Amber Rose. He doesn't even know who Amber Rose is, but everybody else knows who Amber Rose is. So big ups to Amber Rose. And we all love Kanye, baby. We love Kanye. Cut that up, put it into a short, they say. 23:31. We're rolling deep, baby. We're rolling deep. But this is the kid right here. This is the gentleman. And that doesn't look like the guy on the roof. You see the one picture where you got like the dried blood and the long hair. But you telling me this guy outsmarted the Secret Service? Is that what you telling me? How is that even possible? How is that even possible? I don't know. We're just out here rambling on about who shot Trump. Who shot Trump? Why is there ladders? I don't even know. None of this makes sense. None of this makes any sense whatsoever. I don't know. And then they had the Trump-Kennedy thing got leaked. Trump was talking to Robert Kennedy Jr., and he was talking about vaccines with him, and the media didn't seem to want to run with that. That gets a memory hold for some reason. You figured that would be a big leak. And, of course, Robert Kennedy Jr. apologized. I guess his son was the videographer, and they were just, trying to film the background, I guess, for running for president. Leaked it out, but it happened to be about vaccines, the size of horses, stuff like that. So, I mean, there's all types of stuff we could talk about. But it's peace and love. I love you all. We're going to sign out of here. God loves you. God bless everybody. Let's save America, baby. Let's save America. That's what we're here for.